And welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game, TIE Punisher Expansion Pack. Now, the TIE Punisher made its first debut in Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which is a real-time strategy game. Now, growing up, real-time strategy games were my jam. It was my way to escape. I would come home, go right to my PC, and it started with Warcraft, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, StarCraft, Star Trek Armada. Then one day I discovered that Lucasfilm was making an RTS, and I jumped on it. I ran to the store with my parents, and I picked it up. And it is a spitting clone of Age of Empires 2 and its expansion, but I didn't care. It had awesome troops, vehicles, and then a Clone Wars add-on, which I was big into the Attack of the Clones, so I was all for it. It was great. Now, in that game, it shares a lot of mechanics with Age of Empires 2, obviously. They use the engine. Now, just like Age of Empires, you do upgrade your civilization to get better technologies, weapons, and vehicles. And if you're the Imperial faction, you have the TIE Bomber, and when you keep upgrading to the maximum, you get the TIE Punisher. However, in the game, it's called the TIE Interdictor. And after playing Galactic Battlegrounds, I never saw this ship again. The advanced TIE Bomber, the TIE Interdictor, just disappeared into mental obscurity. Now, almost 20-something years later, in the 2010s, if we want to call it that, I discovered the X-Wing miniatures game, and there on the shelf at Barnes & Noble is the TIE Punisher. I had to take a double take because I knew exactly where it came from, and I was like, oh my god, it finally got a model. So I jumped on it, purely on the nostalgia feeling of, I used to play with that ship in the game. But having it in hand, it has some great details, and it is a nice addition to the game itself. Now, since we're talking about this model, the size of the Advanced Heavy Bomber is a tiny bit over 1 3/4 inches long, which is pretty nice, and it is to scale with other ships, as we will see soon. So, you guys know the drill. We have a lot to cover. We're going to look at the dials, tokens, cards, put this baby on a stand, look at the mold, the paint, compare it, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. And now it's time for my favorite part of these videos, the dial token roll call. 1 maneuver dial. And to go with that maneuver dial, these are all the maneuvers the TIE Punisher can do. 2 ship tokens, which are double-sided. 1 focus token. 1 stress token. 3 shield tokens. 4 ion tokens. 5 ordnance tokens. 3 cluster mine tokens. And finally, 1 ion bomb token. So that does it for all the dials and tokens. Now let's take a look at the cards. Starting off looking at the upgrade cards, like always, I will read the name of the card. If you would like to pause the video and read the paragraph below, by all means, go right ahead and continue when you're done. First up, enhanced scopes, extra munitions, flechette torpedoes, plasma torpedoes, awesome picture, advanced homing missiles, cluster mines, ion bombs, and finally 2 twin ion engine Mark IIs. So that does it for the upgrade cards. Now let's take a look at the ship cards. Looking at the ship cards, first up we have Redline, Death Rain, Black 8 Squadron Pilot, and finally Cutlass Squadron Pilot. So that does it for the ship cards. Now let's take a look at the reference cards. First up we have Boost Action, Ion Token, Using Bombs, Using Cluster Mines, Bomb Tokens, and finally Modifications and Upgrades. Wow, that was a lot of reference cards, but you know what? They can come in handy. They're like little rule books if you want to put it that way. So now that we're done with all the cards, now let's put this beautiful ship on a stand. Now, just like all X-Wing miniature game ships, it does come with 2 pegs you combine to make one larger one. Plug it in the base like so, grab your ship. Be gentle, these are fragile. And just like that, everybody, you're good to go. And finally, here is the mold of the TIE Punisher. Like always, I will go over the major sections of the ship, and then we'll get nice and close to see all the fine details. So up first, we have our solar array wings. Looking very nice, cool brace, some detailing on the sides. Magnificent stuff, same on this side. Interiors are nicely done. Look at all that. Beautiful stuff. Again, when I get a close-up, I will turn up the lighting so we can see all the fine details. We have our pylons. Transparent steel viewport. Looking pretty good. Some great details on the top. Then we have 4 ordnance pods. Looking sick. In the front, 4 missile launchers. On the bottom of the ship, peg port for our stand, And then we also have 2 bomb and chutes, which also has targeting sensors in them, so that is sick. So all in all, this ship has a lot going for it, so now let's get a close-up view and see what it really has to offer. Alright, starting our closer look, we'll begin with the exterior of the wings. We can see our solar panels on the sides, wing brace, nice molding, especially on the edges. Just a fantastic piece. Literally hundreds of little dots here. I wish they were painted a little more dark, but they're not bad. I think it looks great. Now for the interior here, again we have our panels. And now look at this section right here. That is amazing. I think that came out great. Beautiful, leading right up to the pylon. So let's check this out. Look at all that. These nice rectangle square sections with all the molding. Beautiful stuff. And I love these little dots here. Looking really good. Nice. And we have the back of the pylon right here. Looking kind of blah, but there's some detail on there. Now for the front of the ship, we have our transparent steel viewport with our recessed windows. Looking cool. Our ordnance pod fronts with missile launchers. Love the little fingers in the front. Pretty nice. And tons of molding here. Looks amazing. Especially with the black wash on there. Awesome stuff. Now back to these pylons. It's a little hard to see, but there is negative space there, which is amazing. And unlike the original TIE Bomber, all these are not filled in. So you can see right through them, which is awesome. Nice touch to detail there. Now moving to the top of the vessel. We do have some beautiful detailing on the tops of the ordnance pods, which is pretty cool. I love the front little sections here with the recess. And then it's like ribbed right there. Pretty nice. Coming down to where the cockpit is. Again, look at all those details. A fantastic ship. It really is. Lots of beautiful stuff in there. And then we have the other ordnance pod, which is mirrored from this one. So not much to talk about, but nicely done. Now, looking at the back of the engines, let me turn this. I love the tops here. They remind me of soda cans. And they got tons of little lines. Looking pretty cool. Now, from this angle, we can see the top of the second ordnance pod. You can see there's some detail in there, as well as that side. Pretty cool. Coming down this way, we can look in the back with the ion engines. And I love the details here. Magnificent stuff. I think it came out great. A lot going on back here. Now the back of the ship itself is basically flat. I guess they didn't want to put anything in there. But there's so much going on the rest of the ship, I don't really care. Now on the bottom of the vessel, you can see here on the ordnance pod, some nice details coming around here. Beautiful line work. Especially on this side as well. Looking good. And then in the center, we do have some great details coming to the peg port for the stand. And I love the back here, very nice. Now I didn't forget, we do have our bomb and chutes, and look at the detail on them. Fantastic stuff. Little recessed inside of there. Beautiful. I love the sides here with the 3 little hexagons. Pretty cool. And they're the same for both sides. Nice. And they do have little arms holding them. And they are detailed. So that's sick. Looking at the fronts. Magnificent stuff. On the whole, I have to admit, I'm pretty happy with the TIE Punisher. Obviously, it has a lot going on, so hopefully I covered everything. But as we've seen, panel lines, molding, raised section, recesses, it's got everything. So now, let's cover the paint. And now looking at that paint of that TIE Punisher, we have 5 different colors here. The first one up is a beautiful blue. We've seen it before on other TIE fighters, and I think it came out great. Really nice and clean. Beautiful. Next we have glossy black, for the viewport, as well as the innards of the missile launchers, gray for the supports, and also gray around the missile launchers, right at the tips. You can see it right here above my thumb. So that's pretty awesome, unique. Next we have black for the solar arrays on the wings. Looking good, nice and neat. Interiors and exteriors, awesome. And finally, covering the whole thing is a nice black wash, which brings all the details to life and really makes this ship pop. A little heavy in this ordnance pod, but it's not too bad. Pretty cool. So that does it for the mold and the paint. So now let's put this baby on a stand, compare it to some other ships, and then we'll be done. And now for a quick size comparison with the TIE Punisher seen in the center. On the far right, we have the TIE Bomber, and on the far left, we have the Rebel ARC 170. And the reason why I threw the ARC 170 in this little size comparison is because X-Wing 2nd Edition is featuring Clone Wars content, and it was just released that the ARC 170 is in that wave, so I'm pretty excited about that. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game TIE Punisher Expansion Pack. Again, this ship made its first appearance in Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, the RTS game for the PC, and for the ship's length, it is a tiny bit over 1 3/4 inches long, which is pretty good. Now, in the beginning of this video, I explained that I used to love playing RTS games, and one of those games was Galactic Battlegrounds, where this ship made its first appearance under the name of the TIE Interdictor. So having this ship in hand really brings back the memories of that game. But besides my feeling of nostalgia for the past, is this ship worth it? Absolutely. First of all, this expansion pack comes with everything you need to add the TIE Punisher to your squad. Besides that, it is a cool addition to the game. It's a TIE fighter, it's got shields, and it could utilize different ordnance such as bombs or the cluster mines. So the ship may not be the best, but it definitely has some abilities that are worth looking at. Now moving on to the model itself, this ship is beautiful. The amounts of detail on here are astronomical, and the black wash really covers everything and makes it pop. Everything stands out. The paint doesn't hurt the model at all. And speaking of the paint, it is a great paint job. That nice blue we're used to, the glossy blacks, the grays, everything's working together to really make this piece shine. Now, if you're looking to buy this vessel, I recommend, of course, eBay and Amazon. When I bought it, I found it at Barnes & Noble for about $14.99, give or take, and I do think it's worth it. If you could get it for cheaper, go right ahead. So that's everything I have to say about this ship today. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe! Again, thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody!